Okay, folks, so here we are, the miracles of technology. We're now into Tabletop Sim, and the reason I've done it this way is to show you this. This is our shock deck and the conditions card, which shows you how the conditions work. In Deepsorrow, you'll see that we've got 2 lines for each, and that's because conditions can impact both heroes and foes going forward. We took your feedback and people liked the idea and wanted things to do more. So our prototype has changed slightly since we got it made, and therefore I wanted to really show you this in Tabletop Sim so I can do it right, because the prototype I've got for the hard copy isn't quite the same as this, and this is where we're going in terms of launching. So just to recap where we're at then, we have Surprise, and that's why our 2 ranged heroes are Envoy here, built in Tabletop Sim accordingly, okay, and our Earth Guide here, again built out. Both have advantage, that's these tokens here, and our Corpse Bees, if you remember, we have 4 of them because there are 2 heroes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Because they are ranged, you can see it here, they all start with disadvantage. Okay. So we have 2 heroes, 4 creatures. A couple other things I want to show you. The coin purse says add 2 supply tokens. It's not going to come into effect for this anyway. As I said, we are tweaking the supply tokens, so I've just used ammo tokens just now. Please forgive me, guys, but I wanted to get the video made. It's not, the tokens won't look like that, okay? And you'll see there's a deliberate mistake. This here should, of course, say 8 equal to 8 or less, not equal to 9 or less on the one crossbow. Again, we'll fix that. That's why we prototype these things before we take it out to print formally. So let's crack on. We are in the engagement round, and the heroes get to act first. So the first thing we're going to do is decide whether the envoy is going to shoot. Importantly, if you have a look at this here, the crossbow is a bit slower to shoot. You do get to shoot every round, but it always shoots last, except in the engagement round. So I can choose to shoot first here with the crossbow before the corpse bees get to shoot back. I can also give them advantage. Well, at the moment that would give me nothing because I've already got advantage. Advantage doesn't stack, remember? Or I can use advantage to gain a +4 instead of a +2, which is pretty good. It's worth noting here that, you know, these things are quite tricky to hit. They're a -1. We are talking about bees. Even if they are cat-sized. If we had fire, they are vulnerable to fire. So this is, if you remember, I was saying that we've put in a condition effects now. If you were to throw, we don't have any, but if we were to throw fire at these bees in some way or another, thinking of you, lobgourds, then you could basically ignore that -1 and cause a damage, and then because these foes are vulnerable to fire, here you would gain an additional damage, so you could kill 2 through a burst with fire. So quite handy. So it's worth looking out for the conditions, how they work, and you can be a bit more tactical with the game now. However, we don't have fire kev, so that is not an option to us. So again, we can take a shot here, or with our Earth Guide, we can choose to make a ranged attack. Now, our options here are Release the Storm, uses a ranged attack, apply a number of tokens to creatures equal to the number of Wrathlander skill talents. So we have 2, 1, 2. Okay, so we could apply 2 shock tokens, or Channel Lightning. Make a ranged attack using the knife profile with a +1 bonus to the test for each Wrathlander skill talent. So again, we'd get a +2 on the test, and that inflicts shock and damage. But you can only do that if we have water in the room, okay? Effectively, you are plunging your arm again, you see, if you have a look at that, I mentioned this in the previous episode. If you have a look at the tattoos, I probably obscured it with that pointer arrow. Sorry, guys. The tattoos here on the Wrathlander. This this civilization has a real affinity with lightning, a real understanding with it. So if they train in a certain way, they can in a location that has water. Let's just have a look. Look at that. It's flooded cable room, so it's almost like we've thought it through. There's flooding in here as well. I will state I didn't know which card was going to come up though. So we could do our cool lightning spell here. So I think, although we're on a +2, effectively it's a +1 to hit with a crossbow. I think we should take a shot. Yeah, let's go with let's let the envoy shoot first, because he's, you know, the crossbow's slow, so let him make the most of it. So we're gonna not use a talent though. Okay, I'm gonna save this to gain advantage on a different turn in case I need it. So I'm not gonna use this at the moment, so it's just straight onto the track here. And if everybody's following, I've got a +2. -1 is a +1 on this dice roll. I don't have a dice tower because I don't need it, so bear with me. Well, look at that. 12, 14, plus my 1 is 15, which on this worn crossbow is a crit, okay, is a crit. So what does that mean? It means that the next if the next hero to go if the next thing to go was a hero, they would gain advantage, got it. Or if the next thing to act, ranged creature to act, would gain disadvantage, again, they've got it. So that part of it doesn't matter, and that's because we don't want things stacking, it gets out of control. I can take this away. Okay, let's take it off to the side. We can remove this, because one of these is dead. So, go Envoy, full marks to you. So now it is the corpse bees to attack back with their little kind of electric bolts, and so the rules state that they are smart enough to target a ranged creature who has not attacked yet. So this one here is going to attack the Wrathlander who's not attacked yet. It's 3d6 -2 for the disadvantage. Okay, and we're on a 13. -2 is an 11. An 11 for the corpse bee, if you can see the result here, is a miss. Okay, equal to 11 is a miss. So I can take away the disadvantage token. That creature has acted. Now we're on to the Wrathlander. What shall we do? Shall we do our lightning attack? I think so. Or shall we apply shock? So that's a 4, which is a fail. There is nobody in melee combat just now. I can't apply it to the hero because he's not in melee. So I have to take it on myself. Serves me right. So as I plunge my hands into the icy flood waters here, as I plunge my hands and miraculously channel the lightning, I basically electrocute myself because I'm an idiot. Go on, Kev. So let's stop mucking about, Kev. Let's move this to the side, okay, because disadvantage is gone. And I need to take a shock token. So that's what this is here, folks. It's a shock token. We'll come to the cards in a minute, okay. But basically, these tokens here, they are reversible. You've either got 1 or 2, because you can only have 1 or 2 shocks effectively, or shock tokens on you at any one time. That is now beside me, and this is what we've spent probably the best part of a month and a half trying to finalise out how to get shock to work. Well, we know how we want it to work, but to make the user interface simple for you folks. I also need to take 1 damage. Haha! So let us go on then. Let's need to take 1 damage. There we go. Not going well so far. Right, now if everybody's following that, we still have 2 bees to go. However, the next bee needs to shoot at this one because it's not been attacked yet. So it's going to be a straight dice roll with a -2. Five, 8, 10. -2 is an 8. That's going to be a miss, surely. Yeah, that's a miss. So nothing happens there. Let's take that exhaust token away. So that leaves 1 corpse bee still to take its shot. It's still on a -2. So targeting, when you have shock, if you're the subject and you have shock, it's usually a negative to you. If you're targeting something that is shock, it's usually a negative to them. So in this case, because they're on a -2, I'm going to risk it. I want rid of this shock token as well. So the corpse bee is going to take a shot at the Wrathlander here. -2, I've committed that that's what's going to happen. So what we do now is we remove this shock token, okay, here, and draw 1 card and flip it over. Sorry folks, Genius Kev managed to actually take the shock card off the table. I was so shocked I took it off the table. So test, in this case it's pretty clear, right? So this is what we spent quite a bit of time finessing for you. So subject makes a test, that is not subject. Test against subject, remember this is where the shock token was, okay? And these cards are all different, it will not always say something like this, okay? It's gain 1 on this test. So, we need to roll these dice. Okay, 4, 8, 11. 4, 8, 11. -2 is 9. +1 because this hero had shock gives us a 10, which again is just a miss. Now that could have been that wasn't necessarily going to be a +1 shock. Can be, there's a number of different results in there, but in this case we have survived, thankfully, and that gets rid of this as well. So a little bit of tidying up. That's that token down, and that is the end of the engagement round. So we're now going to go into the second round, or the first round of combat, okay, and pinning can occur now. So I have my 2 heroes. This the envoy has still got his crossbow to hand and a talent to use as well. So he is going to stay at ranged. Remember, we can both stay at ranged here because these this is a ranged foe, so we could just keep shooting at each other if we wanted to. This was asked recently by a fairly new member to the Legends Untold community on BGG, so just wanted to give a shout out there to, I think it's pronounced Rensimel or Ronsimel, apologies, I'm sure I've got that completely wrong, but wanted to give that shout out. And this is effectively for you, I suppose, by accident. But yes, absolutely legitimate. We could just keep trading shots. However, of course, we have to have a ranged attack to be able to do that, and our Earth Guide no longer has any ranged attacks. So the Earth Guide must go into melee. I was going to anyway because I want to use my battered axe, but I just wanted to clear that one up. So what I'm going to do here is move the Earth Guide into the melee section here, okay? And if you look here, melee heroes each pin one creature, bringing them into melee, which means they cannot shoot. So let's just drag one of these little corpse bees down with us. And you'll see now that we have 2 at ranged against our 1 ranged hero. So now is the time for us to grab our advantage, I believe. So just going to exhaust this one here to gain advantage on my next ranged attack. However, remember your own rules, Kevin. I don't get to shoot first because it is a slow weapon. It's a slow weapon. Okay, so actually, the 2 ranged foes are going to get to shoot first. So, firstly, range shot at a range shot at our envoy. Ooh, what? How on earth did I manage to cock a dice in Tabletop Sim? That is beyond awesome. It tells me it's a 4. It tells me it's a 5. I think that probably is a 5. I'm just gonna. I'm far too. There, look, go me, go me. Sorry, I'm easily amused, folks. But it tells me that's a 12. So 12 with no modifier is going to be, that's an advance, okay? So the corpse bees have got the advantage this time around. So that means that the next thing to, if he had a bow, he would get to shoot next. He would shoot with disadvantage, but because he always shoots last in the ranged combat phase, it being a slow weapon, yeah. Actually, the next corpse bee to shoot has advantage. This is not good. This is not good. This is not good. So this corpse bee is going to take a ranged shot at the Wrathlander with her crazy cocked dice of doom. Well, let's just pick this up. There we go. 6, 11, 12. Plus 2 is 14. That's not good. Not good at all. 14 is a strike, okay? So a strike for these creatures does 1 damage and a shock token. And a shock, okay? So let's take away the advantage token. And we need to take 1 damage here. So this to me seems like the obvious one. So yeah, let's... there we go, bang. And I need to take a shock token back in. What a mean bee. What a mean bee. Now, we do, however, the envoy now gets to shoot with the crossbow, so I'm going to exhaust this to gain advantage. Okay, so get myself a +2 in this roll. And remember, it's at a -1 for shooting at the corpse bees, so we're on a +1. And I will shoot at this one here. Okay. Six, 10, 13. +1 is 14. That's good news, though. Have at ya. It's a crit. Have at ya. So we kill 1. Da-da-da. That gets us to 2 left, and I get to add advantage to my Wrathlander, which will come in quite handy. I'm going to take this away because I've just used it. Okay. Hopefully everybody's following so far. So I've got advantage, but I'm also shocked, and I now have to attack. Remember, we have to attack to make sure that the corpse bee effectively we're simulating its attack back, albeit I'm pretty sure it doesn't want to be attacking this crazed Wrathlander right at the moment. Plus, I'm kind of tempted to try my my Ampulla here, just to get some more. I see I could use this now just to get some life back in case this goes horribly wrong. The worst that can happen is I roll a 1. I'm not going to roll a 1, right? That's not going to happen. Yeah, I'm gonna. What do you think, folks? Yeah, I can hear you're all screaming at me. I can hear it in my imaginary head. Okay, so we're going to have a look It's a small ampulla. Okay, I can use it in combat. So any hero can roll a d6 and discard this card. Let's do it. So let's take this dice. Here we go, guys. Roll, roll, roll. 2 to 3. The hero restores 2 talents. Okay, and then you discard this card. So this card, let's just put this up here somewhere. Okay. There is nothing to restore, so unfortunately it didn't work out for me in this case. I was hopeful something a bit better. Hey ho, never mind. Now we are going to, you'll see here that both of these are play after you roll. Okay, so all I've got to do is basically roll my dice after I sort out my shock. So let's draw a shock card, flip it over, and you'll see that I am the subject. This is the stuff we've been working on. I am the subject making the test, okay? So I get a -1 on this, so that's quite easy to figure out, because +2 -1 is a +1, okay? You can see, as I say, it's not always bonusy. Sometimes you get mastery and so forth. You don't know what you're going to get. But in this case, I'm on a net +1 because me being shocked has made it harder for me to hit. And there's no modifier you'll see up here in melee. So let's just get rid of that. There we go. And +1. Whoa, look at this. 12, 17. I can get rid of my shock token because we've done that. 17. That's got to be a crit. There we go. Crit. Bang. And can I do anything else amazing as well? Well, if you go, why not? If you killed a creature with this attack, then you can apply shock to up to 2 other creatures. Yeah, let's do that as well. So, 1 kill. And we get a shock token on this thing too. Now, this now means that they've got to the 1 point, okay, so, and it's not a unique foe, so these corpse bees will run away effectively. If it was a unique foe, we could try and hack it down so it doesn't come back, it stays out of the adventure deck. But you can't get rid of all those bees, especially not with an axe. We're not that good. So in this case, there is no more point in doing this. But hopefully you'll see that by adding that shock token in, I just wanted to kind of show you a couple of things. So the combat is over, but a couple of things that would happen. In the next turn, what we could say is that this guy is going to go in with his knife. Cool. Okay. This, because there's 1 in, it automatically draws in the ranged foe into combat with the shock token. Okay. And this means we get to look at this. We're tweaking the rules going forward that heroes can get outnumbering as well. So if we take that, flip it over. Okay, the heroes would get a +1, so both heroes here, would get +1 in melee against this. And if we draw a shock token, a shock card, just out of interest to see what it was going to be, it would have been you would have subject the test against a subject, which is what we're doing. Yeah, we're testing against a subject. Gain advantage on this test. So you'd have actually gained, it's not a +2 because they don't. That's better than advantage. A +2 stacks with advantage. But if I don't have advantage, gaining advantage would be pretty good. So as I say, you can see the different results for shock. It can make quite a difference. It makes the game more tactical, and outnumbering as well would make a difference. But in this case, we have successfully defeated the corpse bees without the need of fire. Go us. So I'm going to close it there. Welcome back, folks. We have done our tabletop sim adventure part of it, which is primarily, as I say, because we don't have the shock deck in the current prototype, but that will be in the next version, which you'll see soon. So what I've done here is now move back to the game itself, and I've adopted a kind of vertical style with the camera this time round because I really want to focus in detail on a few things. So if you remember, we've been through one location into another, and we are careless. So you can see here I'm just checking my readiness tracker, and we are indeed careless, which means that we have got we're going to set off traps and booby traps. But that's if you draw them as you go, and it doesn't work that way if you do a search zone. So for a search zone, and indeed for a treasure zone, we use the timing of how careful you are with the trap. And in this case, we have the opportunity to look at that search zone and do a quick or a careful search. I'm going to do a quick search because we've been kind of plentiful with the time so far, so it's a bit of fun. So the first card I draw is a loot card. Forgive me, it's just a little bit off camera just now. I'll show you in a second. And the second card, remember, we would set off any booby traps. I don't know what's coming. It's another loot card as well. So just going to angle them down. There you go. It's a narrowed key and some barrels. And in terms of those barrels, the reason it's purple is to make us take care with where we place these. Basically, we can't place these in the treasure deck. They must sit in the adventure deck. You'll see in here, make an exploration phase. Well, we're in just now. We make a probe handle or brute brawn versus basic test. If successful, draw cards from the treasure deck. That's why this can't sit in the treasure deck. And we've got a narrowed key, which in there you can see discard to gain +2 on a probe handle test against a barrier. Or you can use it to unlock a locked container. So really careful. This is why we're on the vertical shot, to show you the keywords in detail. Container, it's a container, sealed and heavy. So it's not locked, it's sealed. I know it's a minor point, but it's important. Okay, you cannot use this key to jimmy open that barrel, okay, because that's for unlocking, i.e. chests and so forth. Yeah. And the fact that it's heavy means that it will not leave the room. So this barrel has to stay in the location, and you've got to try and break it open, or indeed come back to it if that's what you want to do. The key is useful though. We can take it with us and use that to try and get through some barriers, or for a locked container in due course. It's just at the moment we can't use it with the barrel. So decisions. Do we want to open the barrel? Just checking everything else I've got here. Keys, coin purse. Yeah, it's going to be a straight roll if we want to open it, and there is of course the risk of booby traps in the treasure deck. Remember, this was from the adventure deck. What do we do, Kev? I'm quite keen to show you the treasure deck. I do not know what's coming next, folks. I've not had a peek at all, but it's important to show off some of the new things in Deepsorrow. So yeah, come on, let's go for it. I've got a Grace of 2 with my Earth Guide, so bear with me with the camera, guys. I'm just going to try and zoom back a bit. Yeah, that dragon's a little bit too close. We're going to go for it. We've got a +2 in this roll, and we need a 12 for a probe handle. We've got, what have we got here? A 6 plus a 3 for a 9. And what else have we got here? A 3. So yeah, a 12 +2 is 14. So we've passed, and that means that we can go back to our barrels card. Just check it. You know, probe handle versus 12 basic test. We've passed it. And it's quite clear. It says if the test is successful, draw 2 cards from the treasure deck and discard this card. Hopefully that's clearer on the camera now, folks. So yeah, we're going to do this. I'm confident that there'll be nothing bad in the barrels, because who would create a game like that where we would put awful stuff for players in barrels? So I'm just going to discard the barrels into the discard section of the adventure deck, and then what we need to do now is draw 2 cards from the treasure deck. So this is the deck to the right, the new deck that we're bringing in for Deepsorrow, because we want to let you guys explore more treasure zones and search zones. And if we draw a card there by just removing the deck topper briefly, so we can draw the first card. That's 1 card I'm going to place face down, and then I've got a second card to draw as well. Remember, we're drawing 2 cards. What is in this barrel, folks? So we're just going to have a look. The first card we will take on is another key. Well, we don't need a key, but it's helpful. It's always helpful to have keys. And a second card is... oh dear. It's a spike trap. So we are impaled by spikes. Yeah, nobody would ever leave bad stuff in a barrel, Kev, ever. Booby trap, impaled by spikes. Shark spikes spring from the wall, or the barrel in this case, their blades covered in a blackish tar. Remember, this card could have sat in the adventure deck or the treasure deck, hence we're trying to multi-purpose them for you folks. So the scout takes some damage, and the scout would be our Earth Guide, who already has got an exhausted talent, so that does make sense. Let's take some damage there. Now let's just read the rest of the card. We've got impaled by spikes. One hero must make a solve reason versus 12 basic test to remove the spikes. There is tar on them, remember. If they fail, then the scout takes poison and damage from the spikes coating. So basically, we've plunged our arm into the barrel, and now we need to figure out how to get it out of the barrel, or our Earth Guide is going to die, because the Earth Guide has no health life after that, or it's going to go unconscious at least, folks. So I'm just going to pause for a second to explain this for people that are wondering what's happening here. If you see beside us, we've got careless triggered. Now that is how a booby trap works. If you look down at the readiness tracker, you've got careless. Booby traps are automatically triggered. That's how it works if you come across it by drawing from the adventure deck. In this case, I triggered it because I didn't do a careful search. So somebody needs to do the solve reason test, and I think, yeah, thematically, it's gotta be the envoy. The envoy's got a reason of 2, so I'm just gonna pull back across here and see if the envoy can save the day. The envoy is gonna heroically try and save save his companion, the Wrathlander. What do we get? Yeah, there's no false dice rolls today, guys. 478. That's 478 with a 2 is a 10 against a reason of 12. Solve reason of 12, and that means because there's the game is the GM, so we can't pull any dice rolls, folk. If people are wanting to do that, because some people have made idiotic decisions, shall we say, like me. Forgive me, folks. I'm waving this around because I'm unconscious, clearly. I'm trying to give you... There you go. I'm trying to let you see it in the camera that what's actually happened. Yeah, the scout takes poison and 1 damage from the spike's coating because the envoy didn't help. So we put that card down. There's our Earth Guide here, who's got to take it. It's got to take it. So we're just going to go and grab 1 poison token, 1 unconscious token, and that, I'm afraid, is the end of that adventure for just now. Our poor Earth Guide coming to a sticky end. Okay folks, that's us for this video. I really just wanted to say thank you so much for sticking with us on the journey and watching the video. We've covered off the readiness aid, the combat aid, some new hero builds, including a look at the weapons, the treasure deck, shock condition, clues importantly as well. So hopefully you've seen a showcase of a bunch of the new stuff in Deepsorrow. We didn't cover it all, but certainly gave you a taster. I really wanted to pass on our gratitude and thanks for all of the support to date and bearing in with us. There are a lot of things going on in the world which inevitably have delayed this project. We do recognise that and appreciate the support that we're getting. We'll speak to you soon, and hopefully you'll be joining us for some adventures in the not too distant future. Thanks so much, folks. Bye bye.